For a while, right? But I'm back, sort of. I've been missing for a while because I've been training people, I've been expanding, there's been a lot going on. But I figured I haven't done a live in a while. I said I would try to do a live, and so here I am, trying to do a live. And I know I feel bad because it's like I do a live on my Doodle Brice like every other time. But he's just so good, and he's just an appointment I really enjoy doing. Now, I do have my earphones in, so I'm listening to music personally in my own head. So if you see me start dancing and there's silence all around, it's because I've got music going on in my ears. But I'm going to get started on Brice, and I'll get to show you a new nozzle I found at Lowe's for like $8, which is amazing for a recirculating system in a mobile unit or a bathing system. I adore it right now. So let's get started. Brice! My good lord, my good sir. Up. For those of you who have never met Brice before, I have been doing Brice since he's been like 8 weeks old. Come on, Bubba's. Since he was like the size of his back leg. I'll show you him a little bit better in a second. This is Brice. He's a golden doodle, gorgeous golden doodle, and I've been doing him. Stand up, baby. Oh my goodness. I've been doing him since he was the size of like his leg here. So I have grown with him. He's almost 5 years old now, and he acts like he's miserable with me, but we get lots of cuddles in, and he's one of my absolute favorite appointments to do, because he really is just a joy to do. And he's my like relaxing puppy. Like after a long week, I go to his appointment and he's like this is a nice appointment. So he does have ear issues, so we'll be doing an ear flush on him today, as usual. And then, this ear's got naughty again. I'll pluck a little bit. I'm not going to pluck all the ear hair out. I'm just going to pluck enough so that the ear can breathe a little bit better. And so when I do the flush, it'll go in a little deeper. But I usually do nails first, and then I put them in the tub and I get them done in the tub. So let's get started. Know if I'm going to take him shorter today or just do like a neat enough. I think I took him shorter last time, which is why he's not super long this time. But he's been having skin issues related to allergies, and a lot of it is his skin hasn't, like because his fur is really thick, his skin hasn't really been able to breathe. So like when it gets hot spots, those hot spots just kind of stay underneath all that fur, and they're not able to air out a little bit. The best medicine for any sort of hot spot, other than the normal antibiotics, is air, just in general. So we want to let those kinds of stuff breathe as much as possible. Turn, baby. Brice. Ready? Turn. All right. Okay. There we go. I got it. But he has been having allergy issues. You can see that off of his feet and his legs. Those rust-colored spots are spots that he's been looking for that have been irritating him, and he's been gnawing on them. So when you have a dog that has a lot of rust-colored spots, and you're like a blonde dog especially, you have a pretty good indication that that's going to be a problem area already. So you want to pay some extra attention to those areas. I do use a chlorhexidine shampoo on him, which is already in the tub. My recirculator is already ready to go. But, and that's been helping a little bit, but it is one of those things that unless you bathe a dog in chlorhexidine shampoo or a bleach bath or however you do it, once a week or a couple times a week, it doesn't make that much of a difference as much as it's supposed to. But You know, Brice is just, he's a lot of hair, and this is a lot of maintenance for mom to try to do on her own. Another problem area I deal with often on him is his tail. He does gnaw his tail a lot. And so you can see it's pretty matted. So I'm going to use some Matte X. I'm going to drench it. Sir, I need you standing, sir. Thank you. I'm going to do this before the bath just so that it doesn't get worse during the bath. But I'm just drenching it in this stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to take my mat breaker and I will show you what that looks like. Super scary, right? Super scary piece of looking equipment. This has blades on this side, so you just have to be a little bit careful to make sure not to scrape it against the dog. Oh, he knows I'm going to go for that tail. He's like, no, I already know what's happening. But you don't actually ever use the blade against the dog. You scoop upwards, and then you kind of go in a sawing motion, like as if you're, like you pull up in a way. And that's how you break up these mats. And yes, it does pull out a lot of fur. I'm not saying that this isn't damaging to the coat, but he's always got an issue with his tail, so at this point he's used to me dematting it, and it doesn't matter. Like, I just started using this tool this year, and again, he's 5 years old. I've been doing him since he was a puppy. It doesn't matter what tool I use, doesn't matter what I do on his tail. He always seems to come back with a knotted tail because he chews on it all the time. He's been doing that since he was a puppy, though. He's got some matting on the bottom. Brice, up. Okay, fine. Don't get up. Okay, up. Good boy. You can sit in the back, okay? Let me at least get your tails taken care of. I am not stabbing his tail. I'm going underneath it. I'm making sure I'm not scraping skin at all. And then I'm pulling up and out in like almost like a sawing motion. But just up and out really fast. And that's how these blades end up breaking through those mats. This is like a lifesaver. This mat breaker is a lifesaver when you're doing doodles all the time. I didn't have it until this year, and I can't tell you how long doodles took me to demat until I got this piece of equipment, and it doesn't cause a lot of pain as far as I can tell from the dogs. The dogs still seem fine and happy after I use it, so just got to use it very safely. Not got this. Hold on, almost. Just to fill the mat right there. Let's see if we can get it. That's about it. My fingers are right under here, so if for any reason I do accidentally scrape against him, it's actually going to scrape my fingers first. So I'm using my fingers as a protective barrier. See, like that. Going like this. That. Okay, I think that's all the matting. The rest of it is just thickness. So this is all the matting that he had. Like I said, this isn't necessarily good for the coat because it does essentially saw and rip it out, but as long as you do it quickly and you're pretty skilled at it, it doesn't hurt the dog, and the coat seems to be growing back normally for me, so. My sweet boy. Do you have any matting in your ears? Sometimes he gets mats in his ears because his ears give him problems. I'm not done with the tail. Can I see it, please? Thank you, my love. I'm sorry. Now I'm just going to do like a pre-brush of his tail just to get any leftover mats out, done with. I know, almost done. For those of you just joining, in case you're wondering what the heck I'm doing and why I'm singing out loud when there's no music in the background, I have headphones in that are playing music. The reason I have headphones in and I'm not playing it out loud is because every time I played it out loud, the Instagram has stopped and then deleted my video halfway into an appointment before I noticed, due to like whatever song came on. A lot of times it's Spice Girls. Spice Girls be betraying me over here. But I digress. Okay, so he is good to go. So the rest spots I was talking about, Brice, can you turn around so I can show them what I'm talking about, baby? 1, 2, 3. It looks like he's choking, guys, but he's not, I swear. These are the rust spots I'm talking about. If you have a dog with blonde hair or whiter hair, or even just light hair in general, and you're seeing these rust spots, these are spots that they're chewing or that they're trying to gnaw at. So those are spots that you should take extra care around, that make sure you clean very well. And if you have anti-itch spray or anti-hot spot spray, spray those areas. Because he didn't have any of these issues until this year, but this year in San Antonio, allergens have been really, really bad. So I can't blame him for having these issues. But we're gonna get him in the tub, and then I'll move you guys so that you can see the nozzle I'll be using to spray him. I love you so much, Brice. Jesus Christ, you're heavy. Oh, good boy. I love you so much, dude. But you are not the same puppy I did years ago. Okay. And I'm gonna prep my floor real quick. I know Brice. Are you okay? I know Brice well enough to know that he is gonna drip water everywhere. So, prepping for that ahead of time. Okay, so I'll move you guys over to me so that you can see what I'm doing. This conditioner. Okay. Here we go. I'll lift this table up high so you can see as much of the table as possible. Okay, perfect. So this nozzle I found at Lowe's for $8, and if you've ever used the Savior nozzle, this is almost very similar. In fact, for mobile systems, I actually recommend this better because this actually has a better pressure than the Savior in a mobile system, because the Savior is limited to, it has to have a certain PSI or more, and this one has a lesser PSI to be more effective. So highly recommend if you're going to, if you can't afford a Savior for $8, Lowe's, go to the host and gardening section, and you can just twist it to either create a softer cone, or you can twist it to create more of a jet stream, and I'll be able to show you what I'm talking about in just a minute. So here's that. I know, Brice is like, what happened? More of a jet and more of a cone. Just twist it. And I am loving this right now for e-sheds and to get dogs really well washed very quickly. I still go over them with a good scrubbing with just a little bit of shampoo after, because at the end of the day, the recirculating system does recirculate. If the dog is super dirty, it is still recirculating dirty water. So you still want to do just a little extra scrubbing, but this really powers through that coat, really gets all that stretchiness on there. Really saves your rinse and scrubbing and your the amount of time it takes to wash a dog. I'm going to scoot you in just a little bit, Brice. I know, Bubba's. Brice doesn't like his face done, so he gets really sensitive when I get in his face. And then there is another one that I use that is very similar, and it's got more of a pressure diffusion, and I'll show you guys one of the kitchen. But I'm using a slightly heavy cone stream, so it's a pretty high pressure cone stream. Because he's not a D-shed, so I don't need to use that jet to loosen up any under coat. He doesn't have really much undercoat. You are dead set on getting my whole unit wet. It's like, I'll show you to get me clean and beautiful. Like that. Oh, rude. I'm just opening my vent so that the humidity goes out from... That was still my Thermone back in the day. But I really love this tool. It's a great tool. Like I said, $8, Lowe's. Buy a couple of them, because what's going to end up happening is when holiday season starts, they're going to take away all the lawn and garden stuff. and you'll never be able to find a hose head until next summer. So I bought like 4 of them just in case if any of them ever did break, or if I got more systems or whatever, that I would never be out. I'm going to be using softer cone so that there's not a whole lot of splashback right now. Very nice. I'm going to scoop Brice in a little bit. He's just dead set on trying to get my whole wig wet. Rude. Known each other for years, Brice. Right here. So that noise that you're hearing is just, it's sudsed up so much that the circulator isn't registering that that it has water. So I'm just turning on the fresh water, putting in some more into the circulator, and that noise will die down once it's got enough water again. While that's filling up just a little bit more, I'm going to turn Brice around, turn my love, very good. Oh, good boy. Turn that off. Brice, you are going to make this as difficult as possible today. You're so sweet. I love you so much. I love that you're so pretty. Okay, I'm going to put this down here for now. And then when we have to do your face, I have to put you up higher, baby, because I can't keep letting you get my rig all wet. Okay, I'm going to slightly bring in that cone a little bit so it breaks through the current a little bit easier. Focusing on those, like I said, rusty areas. I have a chlorhexidine shampoo in the system right now. So I'm focusing on the areas that have clearly where he's been chewing. We're really just letting those areas spray so that I can get them soaked. I know he likes to chew on his tail and butt, so I'm going to focus on that too. Start doing seminars, I'm going to start asking moms about this. He would be the best seminar dog other than when he's trying to get my whole freaking ring. Wondering what shampoo I'm using is Beth Shot medicated chlorhexidine shampoo, which is supposed to sit on him for a few minutes anyway. And then I'm actually going to put conditioner on him while he's soaking. And I know that's like controversial, but like scientifically, on a scientific basis, like it's not supposed to work if you do that. Like the conditioner shouldn't be able to do its thing. I have never personally had problems with it. I feel like it's made a huge difference. Or I feel like when I do them separately, it doesn't make that much of a difference than when I do them together. So for time purposes, I do them together, and I haven't seen a lower in my quality at all. So I'll be doing it, but again, the science says otherwise. So please don't use me as your basis that I'm right, because I am very rarely right about a lot of things. My employees can tell you. I know. This is a sensitive ear. This is the ear that we have to run a ear wash in. And I'll be doing it while he's in the tub soaking in the conditioner. And I'm just trying to get his head wet. And his ear is nice and soaked so that I can scrub them pretty good in a minute. I'm not going into the ear canal. I'm going all around it. I'm closing up his ear canal and then going into his face a little bit. And then doing the top of his head. Now I'm going to do the side of his head, and I'm going to open this up into the softer cone, and I'm going to point downward so that I'm not going into his eye. This is a wet business, y'all. If y'all aren't ready to get wet, y'all are in the wrong business. And I will be rinsing his eyes out in just a moment. Just to make sure if any soap did get into them, that it is not going to affect my business. It's not the end of the world if you accidentally get soap. Soap in a dog's eyes. It is the end of the world if you leave it there. So just if you accidentally get soap in a dog's eye, and this is the one I was talking about earlier. This is my fresh water where you can adjust it. And again, you can adjust it as a stream or a jet, and I can adjust the pressure. So that I can use to gently rinse out his eyes with some fresh water. And that way he doesn't get any bad side effects if the shampoo did get into his eye. And then now I'm going to use some conditioner. D-Matte solution. This is just going to soften his coat up because he's a doodle. I don't use this on every dog, but because he's a doodle, this is a really good conditioner to use. The only issue I really have with it is that it feels like it doesn't rinse out very well or all the way. But I'm just going to pour a little bit on him, and then I'll show you what brush I use to get it deep into his coat. I also don't love the smell, but that's okay. That's a perfume spray. Oh my god, why aren't you using a smaller bottle? Because that would have been logical. And I'm not a logical person. I'm not saying everything I do is right. I'm just giving you my point of view, things that I do. And I'm so sorry that this hole is in the way. There we go. Logical. Okay. So my favorite scrub brush that I use is, an employee showed it to me. This has bristles. Now these bristles are pretty tough, so you don't want to use this. I usually use this to get the shampoo in the coat or the conditioner in the coat, and then I use the other side, which is soft bristles, soft rounded bristles, to scrub it in. If you use this side to scrub it in, you will make the dog very raw. But it is great for D-sheds to just brush things in. And so I'll show you what I'm talking about. I just use it to really, like, you can see how beautifully it brushes, and you can tell it's brushing down to the skin. And it just really brushes it down. Like I said, I'm not sitting here, I'm not scrubbing it in. I'm gonna brush on his tail. And it's bendable, so you can actually squeeze it. And that's what I do, I squeeze it around his tail. There we go, perfect, beautiful, love it. Okay, and then like I said, I use the other side to kind of rub it in a little bit more. This is a softer bristle, and I don't want to end up making him raw. He's already irritated in some areas because of his allergies, so we don't want to irritate that any further. And then I'll switch him to the other side. I'll move the camera in just a second. Come along, my dear. Good boy. Good boy. There he is. Say hi, Brice. And I'll just continue brushing that. And this actually spreads the conditioner really, really well. So I highly recommend it. Oh no! Highly recommend it because it really just, it spreads out your product amazingly. But again, don't use it to scrub. I made that mistake and I did make some dogs pretty irritated. So I learned that the hard way. I'm not afraid to admit when I've done things wrong. I think it's really important that people know, especially even my clients, they know I am not perfect. I make mistakes 10 years into the grooming, and I still do things that I'm like, why did I do that? It is constantly a learning process. So I'm going to brush down on his ears too, just to separate some of those strands to make his hair brushable later. Again, not pressing super hard, just brushing it out very gently. Here we go. Brushing out his other ear pretty gently. This is the ear that gives him problems. So he's probably going to shake after I do this one. And then I'm going to do just a little bit here. And I'm going to combine just a little bit. Ah! Why, Brice? Why? Yeah, it's really good for exfoliating though. I mean, like all of this dead allergen stuff is coming off. I know it's not bleeder because it's not bleeding. It's just, he's literally just dirty. His grandparents have a ranch, I believe, and they let him have the whole ranch to himself, so I could be wrong. So Mom, if you're watching this and I'm wrong, sorry. I swear I'm not purposely spreading misinformation. Okay, I just put a little bit of facial shampoo. I did leave a little conditioner in it as well. Then I'm just going to gently brush his face. And I'll scrub his face separately with my hands and home. This is just basically to get the product nice and on there. There we go. So see, even afterwards, I still do a little bit of scrubbing because, again, the recirculator system is amazing. But again, it recirculates whatever water you're using. So at the end of the day, even though it tries to filter out most of the dirts and stuff like that, if you have a dirty enough dog, you're just recirculating dirty water. So you still want to do a little bit of hand scrubbing. Make sure that you got everything you needed to get. I'm going to let him sit in this for just a moment. Ah! And after he sits for a few minutes, I'm going to rinse him off. Ew. Now I'm going to take his ear, flush, and this is based on the directions on the bottle, guys, so don't sue me. And I'm going to flush his ears. This ear doesn't need any plucking. It's healthy looking. Everything looks great in there. I am going to pluck the other ear a little bit just to clean out so it can breathe. Ready? He might cry out, guys. I'm not purposely hurting him, but because this ear is giving him a problem, the vet did ask me to go ahead and pluck it. But again, I don't pluck all of the ear hair out. I just pluck enough that it can start breathing again. And I'm not taking any hair out that's like really stuck in there. I'm really just whatever easily comes out. There we go. There we go. I'm sorry. I can tell that ear's giving me problems again. So. Ear rinses are exactly what they sound like. You pour it in and you rinse. So you just do like a stream into the ear canal. You massage it into the ear canal, really deep in there. You really want the medicine to get deep into that canal. And then the dog is supposed to shake and let out any excess on their own. You can use a cotton ball to dry the rest, but I usually leave it because by the time I'm done with the dryer, most of that's pretty dry. So, you want to shake, Bubba's? I was almost putting it away. It's not mine. So there he is. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and rinse him off with my pressure. When I can control the pressure and the jet stream on. And I'll show you why he chews on his tail and what that's causing. And I have tried a bunch of different methods on him, guys. Open, close, open. Just using shampoo and letting it sit. Just using conditioner and letting it sit. Following the directions to a T on the shampoo. Again, we've been fighting his tail since he was a puppy. That's specific to the belt around his ears. Don't get mad at me and be like, you're not doing it right. I swear I have tried all of the methods. I promise you. It doesn't say that my method is right. I'm just saying I have tried all other methods. And it has not helped. So we're just kind of we're going to just clean it the best that we can. And leave it at that. Speed. I was in the salon today. I have a mini salon. And I was in the salon today and I thought about, oh man, I should take out my wig brush. And it's basically essentially like a, I'll just show you what I'm talking about that way. Like it's hidden underneath, so sorry. But it's essentially this, but doggy sized. And it wicks away all the wet fur really, really well. He's looking miserable, I swear guys, I love him. He loves me and I love him. And I'm using a lower pressure to rinse out all the conditioner because this can serve a little bit of water. Good boy. He hates his face being washed or rinsed or anything. That's just something that we taught because it's puppy. And I noticed that's a pretty common thing with most doodles. Maybe I'm gonna hook you a little higher because I can't have you dripping everywhere. Scoot in just a little bit. There you go. I can't have you dripping everywhere. Okay. eyes with a strong stream, a very weak stream to rinse out his eyes a little bit here, take out those eye gunkies, and let's strengthen up that stream again. Why aren't you wearing a smock? You're getting soaked. I don't know, it's too hot right now. I'll wear a little bit of shirt. At this point, I'm just like, I should really just start wearing a face to work. I get soaked. Alright, good boy. Alright, switching sides. Here. Turn the bus. Like, I'll tell you how hot it is in Texas right now. It is so hot in Texas that I have not had propane in my tank for like weeks, months even, and the water still comes out really nice and warm. I try to bathe in lukewarm water, so I really try to put it all the way to the cold setting. And sometimes that water just comes out like, it's not burning, but it's toasty. However, dogs are best to bathe in lukewarm to cold water, because that's what they're usually designed for, is more colder environments or colder water. It's easier for them to regulate the temperature in slightly colder water than it is in warmer water. So, that's what I've been told. I have yet to really do the science review on that, so if I'm wrong, please feel free to tell me. I would love to correct any misinformation I'm presenting. Okay, oh my gosh! Brice! Brice! He tries to stick his head out of the tub the whole appointment every single time I come in. So I'm like, Brice, bro, you do this every time, and every time you gotta get back right back into the tub. Just let me do this, bro. He has yet to agree with my assessment, so just let me do it. Alright, I think that's pretty fine. I can feel just a little bit of like lotion type residue from that conditioner, but that's pretty normal for the conditioner I just used. There's like really no way. It's meant, I think, in the long term to like when we dry the dog it makes them extra soft, but it throws me off because I don't like feeling that lotion texture, that creamy texture on their fur, which is why I'm not a huge fan of using that that conditioner that I showed you, the demat, all the time, only because it just drives me a little nuts how it doesn't seem to rinse out all the way. But again, when I dry them and it has that stuff in it, I don't feel it after they're dry. It just throws me off really bad. Like, it's not rinsed enough, even though it's rinsed enough. Squeegee, that was the name. Sorry, that was a really random thought, but that what I was talking about earlier is I have a doggy squeegee that wicks away all this water, and technically I can use this squeegee. You can use a regular squeegee from like Walmart or H-E-B or whatever. Sorry, you guys have been looking at my back. My apologies. But either way. Alright, so I'm gonna try to just turn this slightly so that you guys don't have to just be subjected to looking at my back all the time. Not that it helped much, but that's okay. It's alright. Pick our battles. Still have to do it in a certain amount of time, so I can't think of it right now. Grab his face really good. Ooh, sweet boy. He does not like the dryer on his face, so that is like an area I towel dry as much as possible because this is usually a fight to get his face dry. A good towel dry is one of the best things you can do. Towel drying is so important, and I know a lot of people use squeegees or whatever. Doesn't matter. Get the dog as dry as possible before using the velocity dryer. I know a lot of people will say otherwise. They're like, nah, the velocity dryer takes off all the water. Right? It just extends the time. It takes a really long time to get off all the water. Okay, so I'm using quick dry and leave-in conditioner. The quick dry is from Davies. The leave-in conditioner is from Best Shop. I'm going to use a little bit on his head. Not going to need his eyes. Good boy. Good shape. I'm going to use a little bit of teeth spray. I know this. So the teeth spray actually doesn't taste that bad. A lot of the dogs react poorly, quote unquote, to it, only because I'm using perfume now. Only because it's minty flavored, and dogs aren't exactly used to the flavor of mints. So I'm gonna. Ooh, that's a better idea. Do that. There we go. I'm smart. I got this, guys. There we go. All right. Hello there. So a lot of people will ask, well, if he has allergy issues, why are you using perfume? Doesn't matter if I use perfume or not on him. He will have allergy issues. It doesn't make it allergy issues any worse or less. I already have hearing protection in, so I'm going to turn on the dryer in just a moment. I'm going to put a happy hoodie on him. I will mostly dry him in the tub, then move him over to the table. He's not scared of the dryer, but because I'm going to be drying him initially in a metal area, a metal container, I do want to make sure that it's not reverberating too loud on him. Look at that, I'm soaked. Woo! My employees were complaining the other day that there's a specific dog that makes them soaked every time, and they hate it. And I'm over here going like, I'm not the only one who gets soaked. You're not the only one who gets soaked all the time. All right, here we go. He's been majority dried. Trying to figure out a good place to put you guys so that you can see me finish drying him. She'll put you here. Sorry if I'm a mess, guys. My whole life is a mess. It's horrible. Oh, I gotta get the charger. Plug you guys in so I don't lose you. Okay. Brice, I can put the grate up and then I can just put you guys in the tub. Alright, sorry, moving on. Bricey. You ready, big guy? Look at him, he's like, yes. I hate the tub Bluetooth. So, a lot of people always wonder how I dry very quickly. I am the fastest, if not one of the fastest dryers, like people who can dry a dog very quickly in my company. Like, how do you dry so quickly? So the mistake I often see with a lot of groomers is that they try to dry the whole dog all at the same time, and quite frankly that's just a really difficult task for you to try to do. So I always recommend focusing on one area at a time. Why have you betrayed me? First time ever seeing me. I'm weird. You'll have to deal with it. That's just how I roll, okay? Let me hear you. Okay. That should be better. Yes. Okay. So what I tend to do is I pick a section. I divide the dog into sections, and I pick a section, and I usually, it's a relatively large section, and I dry from the top down just that section. And this will give you a very close to being fluff dried look. Obviously nothing ever replaces fluff drying, but it will get you there. She does like the waviness of a Doodle look, so I don't fluff dry him. I get him dry and keep a little bit of waviness in there. But if you dry a section at a time, so start on the back, dry a section here, get that bone dry. Then move on to the next section, get that bone dry. And don't just dry in one direction like this. Go back and forth, go in opposite directions, go swirl it around if you can. And that's going to give you a dry dog a lot faster than just trying to dry the dog all at the same time, because you're just splashing a lot of the water back onto the dog. So you really just want to work your way top down and focus on one section at a time, and don't move on from that section until that section is bone dry. And then you move on. So like you can see I stopped at his leg because I usually do legs last. But like I made this bone dry, and then I moved on to here. Made this bone dry, moved on to here. And then eventually I'll go down here, make this bone dry, and then move on, so on and so forth. So that's how I dry, and that's how it gets the dogs dry fairly quickly. So hopefully that helps you guys. Here we go. For a second, I'm responding to some messages. Busy business owner guy. Okay. There we go. Alright. Alright, now I'm going to brush him out. Like that way my brushes are. Charging! I ordered another one. I know that it was for the Dremel Micros, it was like an ongoing issue that they would charge or not. So, I ordered another one. Okay. brush, a special Doodle coat. Let me turn this so that you can see a little bit of what I'm doing here, so he's the main focus. It's not just, it's actually, because the pins are actually, they have a little bit of an angle. It's actually more of a short flick of the wrist. So you flick upwards like that. That's not to say you dig into the skin. It's just, it's letting the brush do the work for you. That way you're not sitting here and just dragging pins and needles down the dog the whole time, and you're saving your wrists a little bit of trouble here by letting the brush do the work rather than you trying to force a brush through it. The brush will fluff it out for you if you let it. You just have to believe in its capability. Mom lets me do whatever I want on him, so I'm considering his health issues above everything else, about whether or not I should take him a little shorter or leave him the length he is and just do a neat nap. I'm gonna put this off. Let me take this off. How about that? Okay, I'm gonna need you to stand up and turn around, buddy. What's up with the tip? There you go. And I know for people who've never like experienced the grooming industry before, you'll see some techniques that look really rough when I'm doing a dog, like the way that I have to turn them and stuff. Guys, I promise you, 10 years, super gentle. I would say like 80% of my clients absolutely adore me. The other 20% are the ones that hate everybody anyway, so. I always try to make sure that the dog is comfortable before I start moving them, flinging them around the room. Got his tail brushed out really nice. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I have to hand it to that DMAC conditioner I use. As much as I don't love the smell or how hard it is to wash out. Those results, man. Can't argue. It's super easy to brush out too. So the longer the hair, the farther away, especially if you're using the cone nozzle on the dryer, the farther away you want to be, the longer the hair, because if you get too close with the cone nozzle to the hair that's really long, it just tangles it right up. So you want to have patience and dry it from a farther angle. Now when you take the cone off and you're just drying with just the regular tube, at that point you can get as close as you want. But when you're doing a cone, or if you're doing long hair in general, let's say you're doing a collie of some sort, or a doodle with super long hair, or even a poodle with super long hair, if you've got long hair, go a little bit farther back. Hold the nozzle farther back than you normally would. Shorter the hair, the closer the nozzle can get. Less likely it's going to tingle. This is his irritated ear, so it is a little bit tangled up because I can tell he's been scratching at it, but it's coming out nice. And I'm not brushing the leather of his ear, I'm brushing everything off of it, and if I have to go down the leather, I go up and away from it. I was drying it, I smelled something funky. I was like, oh, sweet Jesus. Why could I turn the lights on? I'm pinching the hair. I accidentally caused a little bit of a tangle right here. I'm pinching the hair and brushing it firmly to get this tangle out, so it's not pulling on his ear. It's doing the job of getting that tangle out. brushing against your hand. I usually put my hand in the way to create a flat surface to brush with. You can slice your hand open with a slicker brush. If you didn't know that before, trust me, I learned it the hard way. I think logically that like you would know that, but like yeah, I totally spaced, and then I sliced my finger open with a slicker brush one time. And I was like, okay, well, I learned that lesson. If you want the hair to lay a certain way, dry it in that direction. I have had a lot of situations where, like, for example, I have a cocker spaniel client, that the mom was like, nobody's ever been able to get her cocker cut. She just doesn't have the right fur. And I was like, that's weird. And she had pretty decent cocker fur. I mean, she was a cocker mix, but she had pretty decent cocker fur. And I just blow dried it straight down because it's kind of like this fur. It waves up a little bit, but I blow dried it straight down, and it flattened out, and I was able to do a beautiful cocker cut on the dog. And Mom was like, oh my God, no one's ever been able to do that. Dog's 8 years old. I'm like, 8 years old? I mean, granted, she may be over-exaggerating. She may have found somebody who was able to do it once or something, but still, it was like 8 years, and nobody could ever do the cocker cut right for you. I have questions. So, now brushed out beautifully. Hey, I got this. Get cuddles after, okay? I still love you. He's like, don't talk to me this year. I looks up for you. I can't blame him. Looks up for you. Put that on the handful, baby. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna do 40 on his paw pads. Oh my God, what about the hair splitters on your shirt? It's not the worst. Yes, it is. Suffer that in order to not overeat. I have a high tolerance for a lot of things. A good example would be that I apparently got a UTI yesterday. Didn't know until I was bleeding, and I was like, huh. And apparently, like I had to go to the doctor today, and she was like, yeah, you have a UTI. Those are usually pretty playful, and I was like, huh. I mean, I felt some cramping, but I just thought, like, I'm getting old. I'm not even 30 yet, guys, but I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. I can't come over there, like, whatever. I just assumed it was, like, my body's just, it's like a muscular. I've heard it should have muscular. Okay. And on my name, walk away. One of these things is not like the other. Sorry, those Taylor Swift songs playing right here. Alright, I think I've decided I'm going to meet them up all over with the longest guard comb that just takes off the neck. I think that's what I decided. I do, so before, if you've watched my videos before, I usually do sanitary at this point. I started doing sanitary at the very end, because I'm noticing I gotta go right back over it anyway. God, I adore you. Don't tell me no. Just let me love you. Okay. I think this will be just right. Okay. I'm using my white. Really great for doodles. Makes it very fast. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna neat him up today. He's at a 3/4 or so. And I think this length is beautiful. in this unit. You may see me sometimes in the other unit that we just recently purchased. We call that one Pongo. This one's Perdita. Perdita's got the blue cushions, and Pongo's got the gray ones. But yeah, I broke the clipper back in Perdita. So how I did it, don't ask. It's a long story, but I broke it, and I have no one to blame but myself. So no, warranty doesn't cover it. It's gonna be like a $600 repair. I've been trying to figure out how to ghetto rig my normal vacuum to just be a clipper back until then, but I have yet to actually figure that out. So, oh, you are so gorgeous, Brice. Like I said, I'm just heating him up. I'm purposely not taking a whole lot of length off. Really just want to get big flyaways to go away. Especially with it being a little bit hotter, and that he does spend a lot of time outdoors. I do want to make sure that he stays really protected from the sun. The name of those words and everyone that she believed in. Whether I was baby, thing I'd never known. Everybody wants me to be when I grow. We are the crystal gems. If you have not seen Steven Universe, get on it. It's such a good show. We'll always find a way. Let's find the people of this world who ain't been guarded and manifest and well and Steven! You're not doing anything. see Moulin Rouge. Get on that. All right, we're going to scoot you back a little bit. I'm sorry. And again, if you're wondering what I'm using a 30 wide comb, or 30 wide blade, with a 3/4 wide comb. If you have not used wide combs before, highly recommend them. For me, they are a game changer. I do a lot of doodles and a lot of big dogs. You can even use them on small dogs, and they will cut down your grooming time so much. He said, I've already repeated it 1,000 times, so I'll do it again. Just trying to even him out. Take off any long lengthies, any stray hairs. Smooth him out nice and pretty. Brice, come here, Gaga. Brice, this way, this way, this way. Brice, 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 this way. Oh my gosh, Brice. Oh, skadoosh. There you go, smarty. It's not necessarily the brightest dog, but maybe. That's because I treated you best, my good man. But he is a good example of, look, you can have a dog that you've been training since they were puppies, and they will still struggle a little bit for the grooming experience. Because there's just some things that some dogs just really don't love or like. So like I said, he struggles a little bit for his face, but he worked through it. Even though I've been doing him since he was a puppy, I've been doing all the training techniques to teach him, let me do your freaking face, and he will still struggle with me here and there. So, and it's just some dogs just don't like certain things. You know, he's a very happy dog like me. Up and then fall apart 'cause I'm only you. Sorry guys, I know you didn't tune in just to hear me serenade. Almost done. So it's really long hairs back here. So get out his feet, face, good. And just do one more once over. Trick that I use to minimize system time after, especially on doodles or on dogs that have a more plush or fluffy coat, is I will take the inside of the legs, one guard comb or blade down. And that just evens it out for you a little bit. So if I did a 3/4, I'm going to bump down to a 5/8. And I'll do the back of the legs with the 5/8. Just very gently blending it in. The inside, 5/8, so I don't gotta shave all that business later. The top, inside, very nice. Okay, back of the leg. See? Sometimes I'll take it around the rear, blending it into the 3/4. I will be doing his sanitary soon, so I'll take away a lot of those stragglers. I'll do the inside of his and the back of his front feet. Again, this is just to minimize his scissoring time. I'll go into his armpit with this too to take out a lot of that armpit hair instead of trying to scissor it out or taking the time to remove it. Blend it into the rest of the 3/4 on the leg. Can I have the other one? Okay. There you go. Beautiful. Lovely. Okay, blending it into that 3/4, just very gently. Into that armpit. Remember guys, just because you have a guard comb doesn't mean you can't cut an armpit. So, when you do go into the armpit, make sure you see exactly where you're going. And I will take the armpit, the inside of the armpit down, but that's simple. Now, the other trick that I tend to use to help a blend it in, because a lot of the times I hate that really stark contrast between the sanitary area and then the longer part of the leg. So what I tend to do is, sorry, my husband texted me, is I will go reverse with that shorter guard comb to kind of blend it in to where I expect the sanitary will be, and then gently blend into the longer length at the bottom. So I take the guard comb upwards, and that way when I take my 10 in this area, it blends really pretty. It doesn't, like, it's not just a stark, oh my god. And I'll show you guys at the end of the video what I'm talking about, just so that you guys can see what I meant by that. Good job, students. Okay, so now I'm going to do the Zanny. Alright. Toxic trigger warning. Toxic warning. Trigger warning. Butthole coming up. I don't go across the butthole. I go to each side. And down. Now he does tend to get some goop stuck on his tail, so I'm just going to go up the tail with this 10 as well. And shave just the base of it right here. And I'll blend it in with scissors. Now that way, you can see I just shaved right here, but when he's wagging his tail, all of this will be hiding it. But at least when he goes to the bathroom, it's not gonna get stuck on him. So I'm gonna lift him up, do the Zanny. I know this is not a good thing. I know, we're gonna go so high. And even though he does have allergy and skin sensitivity issues, I just raise the 10 very gently on the Zanny. I've never had a problem with doing his Zanny with the 10, so I'm not going to concern myself too much with that. I know that I'm raising very, very gently. And one of these days when I have a bather on the bus with me, I will do this in such a way that you can see the whole cut very, very well. I do have bathers now. They'll help me out. And if, before any of you say anything about the loudness of my clippers, yes, I know it needs a new blade gun. Okay. And then, as always, I mean, you should be disinfecting clippers between everything that you do, but especially for Zannies, disinfect that sucker. Sorry, buddy. Don't worry, it didn't hit him. I can feel it. No, it didn't hit him, so we're fine. He was like rude. And then I scrub it. I don't need doggy genitalias touching each other via my blades. There we go. Okay, so everything from here, other than his face, is hand scissoring. I'm gonna vacuum real quick. Are you vacuuming the back of his legs? Yes, because I'm gonna scissor all this anyway. Might as well get it tucked up. Fix everything up. There we go. off as my really good ones. So I can really kind of like spend some time blending for a second before committing to accidentally taking off too much. We're almost done, Brice, I promise. Now I'm shaping his legs with my straights. You can do this with straights or curves. Buddy, I love you, but like, you're so far away. Brice, where are you going? No, no, come here, dum-dum. Come here, my lovey. Oh, there you go, it's okay. Hey, but I need you standing so I can do your legs. What? There you go. He acts like this for the scissoring every time. I beat him, right? Shit, it's tighter in first. Let's just say. So I tend to like, I need that right now. So I'm going to be wearing that sometime soon. There was another shirt that I fell in love with that was, it was like a Frenchie with a flower crown. It said, I make bitches beautiful. And I was like, so we'll see. If I start getting some really terrible reviews, guys, it's because of my shirts. They're not entirely appropriate, but this is also my business. I wear what I want. I don't want clients that aren't going to appreciate my humor anyway. Alright, so this side is done. I'm going to lift him up, turn him to the other side, and then I will do everything and finish up the other side and do his teddy bear face. Hopefully well enough on camera that you guys will be able to observe and see. Just like no. Okay, to close my AC unit. Oh, I did not cut that notice. I'm not to fix that. Okay. Sorry. I'm like a sucker for like a very clean band, so I'm like, eh. My voice was like, she's so annoying. Nothing's ever clean enough. It's true. Noticeable, but no. Alright, I'm going to do his tail real quick since we're already on this side. And I'm going to be moving up and I'm not going to come back to the back anymore unless I see a mistake or mess up. And I'm going to cut his tail a little bit shorter today because it is nice and long and flowing and I want to make sure that we minimize how much dirt he tracks into the house with his gorgeous tail. Will be grabbing the camera and showing you guys everything once I'm done so that you guys can see him up close and see how I did. If you have any critiques, I love to learn. I love to get better. Please feel free to comment or message or ask me questions or suggestions. I am a huge believer that grooming is a constantly evolving practice. So if there's anything that you can tell me to make my grooming skills better, I would love to hear it. And I hope that these videos help your grooming skills get a little bit better too. Or that you at least learn something. I'll be really sad if I was like absolutely done watching this video. Because then I just wasted like 2 hours of doing it. And for that I apologize. And I do a sort of flaggy type tail on Brice. Reverse like a flag. I'm just doing that with a short flag. Okay, if you want to sit, you can now, Brice. Sit, Bubba's. Good boy. gotten into the habit of shaping with my guard combs. Guys, my grooming method changes once every 6 months, so, you know, take that as you will. If I did a 3/4 on him, I'm going to do... No! No! Don't shake it out! Who's going to shake out my scrunchie? Okay, shake now, if you must. If you must shake now, this is your time. Ah, rude! Ow! Why I freaked out. I was like, no! Your hair's in a beautiful man bun. Leave it. Okay, so I'm just using this. I put his hair up in a man bun. I'm shaping with these clippers. I'm using a 7/8 wide. And I'm going from the top and shaping into a circle. And then I will just scissor the rest. And I want to shape all of this. I want to get a good general shape out of that. And you may not be seeing a whole lot of hair come off, and that's not what that's for. And I'm not trying to get a whole lot of hair to come off. I'm just trying to shape this piece. Okay. Stay. Don't shake. Don't shake. Brush forward, I purposely make it a little messy, and I brush everything into a circular type teddy bear head. Sorry if you can barely see that. I'm trying, guys, but it's not very easy. Just not notice. And I'm blending in any of the choppiness that the clippers might have left. Into his mouth, I'm going to scoop out all of the long hairs. Now! Scoop, scoop, scoop. Only do that with a dog you 100% trust, guys. Don't do that with a dog that you're questioning may or may not bite you, because your finger is up in their mouth. And you will lose it if they decide they're going to bite. Again, I'm not trying to take off a whole lot of length. I'm just shaping his teddy bear head. I know this. Come here. Almost done. when you doodle their doodle. From what I understand, it's pretty much just this. It's when you have a stark separation between the ear and the head. So what I tend to do is take that clipper comb and I go right down the outside of the ear to blend it in. And that seems to have worked for all of the people that have been like, please don't poodle my doodle. So I don't know if that will help you. I don't know if your clients are similar to my clients, but the point is to blend that head to the rest of the ear. There shouldn't be a stark separation. You should pretty much see the ear almost just kind of like just kind of blend magically into the head. Now I'm going to shake his head. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And I'm going to scissor everything outside of the circle that I made. Usually you want to actually kind of do this with thinning shears because, again, especially around the ears, it is very easy to make that blunt cut that then makes it look like a separation between the ear and the top knot. That is where a lot of people are like, oh my god, you're doing the doodle. I know it takes longer, and I know, and at the end of the day, if you're like really good with your curves or straights, and you don't need to use thinning shears, don't. But I'm just telling you how I do it. Appointments on time. And if I do, it's like hallelujah. It's part of the reason why I started my own business is because I just can't get anywhere on time. So I really that humility other than me and my clients, and even then, if you're my client, you already know. It's just part of what you pay for. Sissy's never on time. Straight so this is the finished product. Bear with me. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, here we go. Okay. So it's still got this nice, cute, like little messy doodle look. You can see that he's still got a little bit of waviness to his coat. Mom likes that. There's a reason I didn't fluff it out. You see his teddy bear feet? Okay. Brice, can I have you stand for a second? Thank you, my love. I'm gonna pull him over here. Oh, sorry guys. There we go. Stay. Stay. Okay, so if a dog chews on its tail too much, I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera, guys. There's an ending to this, I swear. If a dog chews on its tail too much, this is what happens. And I can't show you the whole thing, but it's pretty much right there. Sorry. They develop blackheads as well as fluid. Like this part of his tail is fat. And it's just because he's developing fluid and scar tissue on that area that he tends to chew on. We don't know why he's always done it. It's just something, you know, I think at this point it's just a nervous habit that he does, like people biting their nails. She's been everywhere and then some to try to get it under control, and he will still chew that part of his tail. So earlier when I was talking about blending in, oh, I'm sorry. Hold on here. I see something. Brice, I see something. Hold on. I didn't blend this. Again, if you're not experienced doing this, please do not try to take bending shears into it. Tuck up. Anyways, but here's what I was talking about earlier, where I did a reverse up into that 10 so that there's not like this really, like, I mean, just totally bald and super long. So let me lift up. You can kind of see that it fades a little bit better, right? And so that way it's nice and clear, but at least it blends a little bit better than just going straight into a 10 versus a 7/8 or a 3/4 or what I did on him. But that's the finished product. Brice! I love you. I love you. You ready to go inside? Oh yeah, he is. Okay, thanks guys. Have a good day.